All right, let's see. Make that go away. What the world is happening? Need to see this. Look, there's the video that I did for them. It took me 38 minutes to do that stupid video that they didn't get to watch. Ugh. There it is. Okay. All right, y'all. Okay, so the first bell ringer this morning is about absolute value inequalities. It says, which of the following inequalities is represented by the following number? Okay, so they've got a graph there. Do you remember why you close the circle versus leave it open? Do you remember that? The equal to. So if this one's got a closed circle, that means it's going to have to be equal to. So like if I look at our -5 over here, this one is got an equal to. These do not. So they're for sure out. Remember with the absolute values, okay, those are the ones where you're going to have two solutions. So it's either going to be x is less than 5, it stays the same, or x, flip the sign, is greater than -5, which is true for like this situation, less than 5, greater than -5, but the problem is it's not equal to. So that's why that one is not allowed. Okay, so this is weird in the way that they have this done. So I'm going to rewrite it like that. So this one says x is greater than or equal to 5. That would have to be this way. Or x is less than or equal to -5, which would be that way. So that can't be it. So the only one that's even going to be able to be is B. So when you get these guys, a lot of times it's confusing on how to read them. Start with the x. Read it from the x, okay? X is greater than or equal to -5. The reason it's greater than, even though the symbol is less than, is because, like, think about the alligator. The alligator, Pac-Man, whatever, always points toward the one that's greater. It's always going to go for the greater one. So x is greater than or equal to -5, and then x is less than or equal to 5. So that is our answer. So B is your answer. I don't know how you'd show work for that, but just maybe sketch out this and then give me the answer with the numbers. Okay, so what I don't want is just 7 and then B. Look at you with those paper towels. You are amazing, Daryl. Thank you. Are they for me? I mean, I'm just assuming, but awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, and that's for me. I'll come check your temperature. Do what? I know. Superstar. You are awesome. I'm going to be loaded up with paper towels. You're good, Daryl. Thank you. Okay. And then on number 8 says, in the following figure, the two triangles are similar. Which if something is similar, then you can set up a ratio. Remember when you did ratios back in Algebra 1, like these two equal these two, you set up your ratios. The lengths of their sides are shown. What is the value of y in terms of x? So you're gonna have to write an expression, but they wanna know what it is in terms of x. Okay, so let's look at it and see who we have that are actually given to us. They gave us this side and this side, okay? So we're gonna have 3 is to 6, okay, because we have both of those. And then that equals, we're gonna do the x on top and then y on the bottom. So that helps us set up our equation. And then they want us to find y in terms of x. So I need to solve for y is what I need to do. So what I'm going to do is cross multiply. When I cross multiply, I'm multiplying y times 3. And then multiplying x times 6. Well, 6x. Okay. Then I'm going to divide by 3. So y equals 2x, which is not there. Okay, so that didn't work because it just increased by 3. So you would just say x plus 3 equals y. That makes sense. Let's see what they said. This is a good thing about this, okay? Because like what she says makes perfect sense. What I did not work. So what I like about this website is that you can, what number was that, you guys? 8? You can go down here and click submit and then go to number 8 and it gives you an explanation, okay? So it says the small triangle has sides with length 3 and the large triangle has a corresponding side with length 6. That's twice as long, which is why we got 2x. The triangles are similar, so each side of the large triangle is twice the length of the corresponding side of the small triangle. One side of the small triangle has a length of 2, so the corresponding side of the large triangle is 4. So x equals 4. One side of the small triangle has a length of 4, so the corresponding side is 8. So y equals 8. Therefore, y equals x plus 4. Does that make sense to y'all? Let me explain it. So what we did. What we did was correct. So let me get it back up here so you can see it. So what we've got over here is correct. They're telling us that it's double, okay, that it's been like a dilation has happened to the smaller one. We're dilating it by 2, okay, which is what we found. Y is going to be 2x, double whatever the x value is. So like this is what we did here. 3 times 2 gives us 6, okay. This one, 2 times 2 will give us 4. So that means that x equals 4. This is also x, so it is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so y equals 8, but they want you to write that in terms of x. So we're saying x plus 4 because 4 plus 4 gives you 8. That's a weird problem, but that's the problem with ACT. It's just a weird test. So you have to like figure out the language of ACT and kind of see how they're problem solving. So like this is setting it up just like you would. You get your scale factor and then you have to apply your scale factor throughout the whole thing. So I don't know, weird question. All right, y'all got all of that. Got your bell ringers. We are going to turn those in tomorrow, so make sure that you're keeping up with those and getting those done. Daryl, for yours, you could just put checked in late, and that's fine, unless you already got it done. If you got it done, you're good. But keep those. Okay, we're back in our book today. Before we get started, though, how did the homework go when you guys were graphing the quadratics? It was easy? It was hard? Took you hours? Well, you're in Algebra 2, bud. This is a upper level math class. You remember God only gave you 2 problems instead of 4. What? Oh, y'all are talking delta. I was talking like before when you did it on paper. Do what? Yeah. 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 It's pretty much how it goes when you're absent, not when you're just a loser. I did not call you a loser. I didn't say that. I do not think you're a loser, Ashton. I think you're great. Okay. You shout me out. Oh my God. Whatever. Not even true. Maybe a different teacher, but not this one. So you're okay with these? The one where you have to graph them out? No, you want to go over it? Okay. I don't know who my sub was, but they just left their stuff in here like, I guess I'll take it in for them. Oh, she told y'all. Okay. Well, good for her then. Cool. All right, y'all. Okay, Ashton, I'm going to do these two, so you have to do the other two for homework. I'm going to do the homework problems. Which ones did I tell y'all to do? I'm going to do 1 and 3. So you're going to do 2 and 4. All right. So remember when we do this, the first step that you'll want to start with is finding the vertex. Remember, you have these notes. Okay, Ashton, it's on a video. You can go and get those notes off of the video. I'm not surprised. I know that you are a good student. So, no, I'm not. No, I've taught you twice. I know that you are very capable. No. That's what you're supposed to be taking. OMG, Ashton, you are being super extra this morning. All right, so the opposite of B. What's the opposite of B? Positive 8. 2 times A, what's A? 1. So that's 8 over 2. 8 divided by 2 is, so x equals 4. That's where you draw the dashed line. Okay, your graph is going to be centered around that. That's what it's around. And then from there, you plug it in to your original equation. So y equals 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 15. Good morning, baby. Thank you. You're good. All right, so 4 squared is 16. Negative 8 times 4 is negative 32 plus 15. So this is going to be negative 16 plus 15, which is negative 1, right? Is that what y'all got? So that means our vertex is at positive 4, negative 1. So positive 4, negative 1, that's our vertex. That's the first step, find the vertex. Once you find the vertex, then you are going to set up a table. All right, your vertex, positive 4, negative 1, is in the center, and then it's a number line around that. So I've got less than would be 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then to get those values, you plug them in. So I'm going to take that 2 and plug it in. That's going to be 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 15. I'm plugging into the original equation up here. 2 squared is 4. I talked to y'all about using a calculator. Download an app, use a calculator. You can type the whole thing in, parentheses 2 squared minus 8, parentheses 2 in parentheses, plus 15. The reason you have to have an app, though, is because the little calculator that Apple gives you on your cell phone or Android or whatever is not going to allow you to put the parentheses. You're going to have to download an app, a calculator app that allows you to put the parentheses. Then you can press enter, and it gives you 3. So if 2 is 3, so is the bottom 6. Then you plug in again. This time you're plugging in 3. Okay. So open parentheses 3, close parentheses, squared, minus 8, open parentheses 3, close parentheses, plus 15. That gives you 0. If this is 0, that's 0. Why do they mirror like that? Because the graph is symmetrical. Okay, so it's like you can cut it in half and it's going to be symmetrical. Like you have an eye here, nose parts here. It's going to be just like your face. Yes, ma'am. Oh, every graph's different. Just depends on the vertex. You're talking about the roots, like what you had to do on your delta yesterday. Yeah, it's just different based on each graph. It depends on how much it's been shifted and changed around. So it just depends on the graph. There's no way there's not a rule to tell you what's going on. And then that's your graph. So yesterday on delta, it asked you about the roots, right? Okay, and if you weren't sure about that and you didn't remember our discussion, delta has videos, and it does tell me like how many videos you guys watched. So it will say like Katie watched 4 videos for 12 minutes. Logan watched 2 videos for 7 minutes or whatever. So it gives me that teacher data too. So when you say to me, like, Miss Cole, I didn't understand, like I can go and look and say, well, you didn't watch any videos. Like you didn't ask for any help. So all of that's there available to you. You have to be the one that's responsible enough to say, okay, I'm going to go watch this video and try to listen to what they have to say. So Delta Math is something that's supposed to help you learn, okay? It's not just practice problems, like it is practice problems, but there's also like teaching tools in there as well. That's why Bird paid for that. Bird paid for a subscription to Delta Math. All the math teachers are using it because it's such a good, powerful tool. If they continue to pay for it, which I'm assuming they will, you'll still be using Delta Math next year when you take your next math class, okay? Because it's a really good website, but you can't use it for free. You have to have a subscription. So obviously if Bird invested money into that, it's a good tool. So that's why we're using it so much. But take advantage of those videos. Watch those videos so that you can help yourself learn. Okay. All right. So that's that one. Questions? Y'all want me to do number 3 as well? Nope. Anybody want to see number 3? Are y'all okay? You ready? You want to see it? Okay, that's fine. All right. X equals the opposite of B over 2A. You always start like that. Okay. In this case, who's B? The 2, it's positive. So that means I'm going to take opposite of that. So -2. 2 times A is -1. Okay. That's going to be -2 over -2, which is +1. So at +1, I'm drawing my dash line. Okay. Then I'm going to plug in +1, so negative parentheses, 1 parentheses. Wherever you plug in the X, you put it in parentheses, squared, +2 parentheses, 1 parentheses, -5. Like I said, you can just type that into a calculator as long as you've downloaded one that allows you to put parentheses. That gives us -4. So y equals -4. So that means my vertex is at 1, -4. Okay. From there, I make myself a table. The vertex is in the middle. You do 2 that are less than, so 0, -1, and 2 that are greater than, 2, 3. So it should be like a number line. -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. You've got yourself a number line. Then you plug them in. So I'm going to start with -1. So -1 squared plus 2 times -1 minus 5. Now, for those of you that don't want to just put it in a calculator, you want to do the math for yourself, you start with your square. -1 squared is +1, but you have to bring down that negative that's in front. So it does become -1. 2 times -1 is -2 minus 5. So you've got -1 minus 2 minus 5. So that's going to be -8, right? So that's -8. And that's -8. Okay, then we have 0. So I'm going to plug in 0. -0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 5. 0 squared is 0. There's no such thing as -0, so that doesn't even really do anything. So you've got 0 plus 0 minus 5, so -5. Okay, so we've got 1, -1, -8, 0, -5. We have our vertex, 2, -5, and 3, -8. Connect it with a curve, and that's your graph. All right, does that help seeing those again? Because you will have a quiz on this. You will have to do that. All right, awesome, great. Why is this one upside down? A is negative, okay? A is positive for the top, so it's pointing up. If A is negative, it points down. What are these graphs called? A parabola, okay? Does this one have roots? No. Remember, the roots are where it crosses the x-axis. This is my x-axis up here, so it does not have any roots. Does this one have roots? It's where it crosses the x-axis. This is my x-axis, so it crosses at 5, 0 and 3, 0. So it has 2 roots. Okay. We're not going to get super far on the lesson, but I'd already planned on doing this lesson for 2 days and maybe even 3. Okay, that's why I love this class so much, because this is a non-EOC course, which just means if we need to take more time, we can take more time. So we are going to be back in your book in Unit 2. And what page did you guys say? That's geometry. Me neither. I love algebra so much more. All right. What? What do you mean you can't find my PDF? What does that even mean? You open up my PDF. That's the wrong one. Not what I want. Perfect. Okay, have you heard of factoring? Factoring? Anybody heard of factoring? That's what we're starting today, factoring. Factoring is like huge on the ACT, huge. Like you're gonna have at least 2, maybe 3 factoring problems. And you have heard of factoring, okay? Because if I ask you for the factors of 64, what are some factors of 64? 8 times what? 8. Those are the factors of 64. What's another factor of 64? 2 and 32. That's another set of factors. So those are factors. The factors are two numbers that you can multiply together to get the other number, okay, what you're trying to find the factors of. So we're dealing with multiplication. Well, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be factoring the quadratic equation, okay, and we've talked about that. A quadratic equation can be written in this form. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So that's the only difference. What we have been doing is they've been equal to y. When they're equal to y, we can graph them out on a coordinate grid. When they're equal to 0, we're going to be doing something mathematical with them, looking for the factors. Okay? Now, why would we want to know the factors? Well, those factors are how we are going to find the roots. Remember that the roots were where the graph crossed the x-axis. Those are your solutions to the parabola, okay? So that's the whole goal. We want to be able to find out where does this graph cross the x-axis, but we don't want to actually physically graph it out to see it. We want to do it mathematically using what we call factoring. Okay. All right. So we are going to skip over this first page and go to this. This is our first example of factoring, and they use a Punnett square to do this. Christian, will you take that headphone out? I know you're listening to me, but I just need you to take that out. So they use a Punnett square. Do you remember seeing that in your science classes? Yes. Okay. So that's something that you've worked with. And what you're doing with this Punnett square is you're putting the first term, the x square, in that first box, okay, and the last term in this last box. And then we have to figure out what we would put in those other two boxes to make it satisfy the specific equation. You take 32 or whatever is at the end, and you need the factors of 32. So the way that I do it is I take that 32 and I start with 1 times 32. I always start with 1 times whatever, okay? Then I go to the next number, 2. Can 2 go into 32? 2 times what? 16. What about 3? No, not divisible by 3. What about 4? 4 times what? 8. What about 5? No, 6. 7. 8. We already have that one. So you go all the way down the number line until it loops back around. Once it loops back around, you know you have all of your factors. Okay, so start with 1, go all the way down until it comes back up. And you're like, okay, I got them all. Okay, now we need the sum of those factors. So we're going to have to add them up. We want them to equal B. So in this case, B is 12. So if I add these up, 1 plus 32 is 33. So that's not it. 2 plus 16 is 18. That's not it. 4 plus 8 is 12. I want these two. So you take the factors of the last term, C. List down your factors. Then you find the two that give you the sum of the middle term, B. That's who you put in the box. So you put an 8x and a 4x. And it doesn't matter. Like if you put 4x up top and 8x, that's okay. Doesn't matter. Then once you get to that point and you're in that Punnett square, this is where you take out what they have in common based on the rows and heights. So if I look at this first row, what does x squared and 8x have in common? So you take out the x. That will pretty much always be the case. It may be like 2x or 3x, but you're always going to take an x. On the bottom, what do these two have in common? Just 4. No x, just the number 4. Everybody okay? What does x squared and 4x have in common? Goes on top. What does 8x and 32 have in common? Okay, everybody still with me? Your answer is what's on the outside. So on this side, we have x and a positive 4. So that is going to be x plus 4. That's one of the factors. Then over here, we have x and a positive 8. So that's going to be x plus 8. And those are your factors. That's the answer. That's what we are trying to do. We are trying to find what we would multiply together that would give us this trinomial. 1, 2, 3 trinomial. And it's going to be 2 binomials. Do you remember FOIL? First, outer, inner, last. That's how you would check. If you wanted to do a check, then you would take these two things and you would do FOIL. First, outer, inner, last. X times x is x squared. X times 8 is 8x. X times 4 is 4x. And 4 times 8 is 32. Then you combine your like terms. X squared plus 12x plus 32. Is that what we started with? So you did it. You got the right answer. This is factoring quadratics, okay? So I like to use this Punnett square just because it makes it simple, okay? We want to simplify things. We want it to be simple. So that's how we're going to be doing it in this class. So let's try this one. A. We're going to do it together. What goes in this first box here? We're doing this one here. X squared. What goes in this last box? 12. There's no thinking involved in that. There's no like knowledge skills. It's literally just taking the first thing, putting it in the first box, the last thing, putting it in the last box. That's it. Then now is when we have to do a little bit of thinking. We're looking at the middle term, -7. So this one is negative. That does change it just a little bit. So what are the factors of -7? 1 and 7. But who could be negative? Either one. So it could be -1 and +7, or it could be +1 and -7. So it could be either way. What are we looking for? Oh, y'all, I just messed this up. What the heck? Ignore me. I know. We are. Put an X over that or erase that. Pretend I didn't just do that. That was dumb. We want the 7 to be our sum. Okay, we want the 7 to be our sum. So what are the factors of 12? 1 and 12. 2 and 6, 3 and 4, and look, we looped back around. So we've got them all. Start with 1, 2, 3, 4 until you loop yourself back around. We got it. Now we want the sum to be -7. How am I going to take these positive numbers and get a sum that gives me negative? We can make them both negative. When you make both of these negative, what's -1 times -12? It's +12. So we still are doing the right thing. We're still going to get a +12 when we multiply, but now we get a sum that's -13. Is that what we're looking for? Who do we want? Yes, but which factors do we want? We want 3 and 4. We need them both to be negative. A negative times a negative gives us a positive. When we multiply, when we add them, it gives us -7, and that's what we're looking for. So when we put them in the box, we put -3x Make sure you put your x and negative 4x. Everybody with me, even though I messed you up? Yes, ma'am. Because those are going to be your middle b term, and they have an x with them. All right, now this is where you take out of the Punnett square. So the top row, what does x squared and negative 3x have in common? X, okay. What does 4x and 12 have in common? 4, but remember, we need that sum to give us a negative 7. So you've got to take out the negative 4. Okay, so we need it to be negative. What does x squared and negative 4x have in common? X, that's fine. We want x squared to be positive. And then here, what's negative 3x and 12 have in common? And we want it to be negative. Very good. So now we need our two sets of parentheses. What's going to be in my first set of parentheses? It doesn't matter. You could put either one first. We're going to put x minus 4 in the first parentheses. What's going to be in our second parentheses? And that's your answer. Just like that. Look down at letter E. Look at letter E real quick. What are we missing with that one? That middle term, that bx, we've got our x squared, ax squared plus bx plus c. We've got ax squared and we've got c. We're missing the bx, which is fine. We can still do it exactly the same way, okay? We're going to make that Punnett square. Who goes in the first box?
Teacher's part interruption. Jackie, just a reminder, those of you that purchased football tickets for this week's game that has been canceled, if you wish to make or get a refund, those checks are ready in the bookkeeper's office. Let's try picking those up at lunch or immediately after school. Thank you.
What a headache. What goes in the last box? Negative 144. Now, to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want you to do B and C and D for homework. Those three. B, C, and D for homework. That's it. Do those three. Submit that. We'll pick this up tomorrow.